Hi, I'm Tom Cody, founder and designer of Cody Air Eyewear, and we're in Camarillo, California at the headquarters, and we're here to discuss how to take the frame apart and put it back together. Cody Air is a new patent-pending hinge, and the design of the frame is made out of one flat sheet of stainless steel. There's no screws, there's no solder points, and it's all one sheet. And what we wanted to do is build a better mousetrap and make a design that's much cleaner than anything else in the marketplace. So we designed a new tool, which this is, I call it the Cody Air Wedge, and it's tapered right here. And this tapering slides right underneath the eyewear rungs, the rings, and you want to get it right in the middle. And when you squeeze it, it has to be flush and level and wedged as forward as possible. And once it's even, you want to close the temple, move the cleaning cloth in place so you don't scratch the surface of the frame, and then put it off the edge. And the reason why you're putting it off the edge is because this temple tip has to hang off the edge. And then once you do that, you're holding it in place, but you don't want your hand to be in the way of the frame as you're closing it. So you want to slide your hand down and then slowly, from grabbing the eye wire, rotating it, and just wait for it to spring or pop off. And as soon as you see it pop, you immediately stop turning because you don't want to bend the rungs. And then it's just voila. Now these two eye wires, these two rungs, are calibrated so precisely that it's little C's and little rings, and they actually snap on the edge right in between. I call this a milled rivet, and there's a head there and a head there, and right in the middle is a little canal. And these two rungs here precisely fit right in place of the canal right there. Now the thing is that you want to make sure, more importantly than anything else, is that the lens is calibrated where there's no gap in the eye wire whatsoever. If there's a gap, you got to make sure that you do not try to put the temple on the frame. If you put the temple on the frame with a gap, you're going to bend the rungs out of place and the temple won't fit correctly and it'll pop off. So more importantly, before you try to even apply the temple onto the frame to hold the eye wires together, make sure there's no gap, and then at that point you put the temple down on the table, make sure there's a cleaning cloth underneath. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put the two rungs between the heads. Now you want to squeeze the two rungs tightly, feel for the flush at the top, and make sure that they're even and square before you push it in. And what you want to do is just give it one good press evenly. And when you want to make sure that the rungs aren't crossing each other. So this is a simulation of the rungs. If they're tied up or twisted and you push down, it's going to cause the rungs to bend. And if it bends, it won't open and close cleanly and correctly. So once you actually snap it in place, it should be a nice tight seam and clean. If you actually try to put them on and it's a gap, the temple is going to pop off and you're going to think the frame's defective when it's really not. The lens isn't calibrated correctly. So what we've done with the frame to make it user-friendly, there's no screws and there's no solder points anywhere on the frame. This milled rivet is held together with a tab on the top and on the bottom. And that rivet is held in place and it doesn't move or rotate. So there's less likely for pieces to come loose, pop off, or come out of adjustment. So once you calibrate it correctly, you shouldn't have any problems. The only problem you might have is that when you're adjusting the frame, if it's not in alignment, you're going to tweak it and bend it out of shape. But the only way to do that is, if you had a cleaning cloth and you have to adjust the temple tips, it's going to be a hard, stiff edge. So what you want to do is hold the temple with the cleaning cloth, and you can bend it down, you can hook it in, you can bend it to hook it behind the ear, and there's a counterweight behind the ear here that balances the heavy lens so the frame feels truly balanced on the face.